Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cosmere Connections. We're a collective of book-loving nerds rereading Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. From book 1 to book 16 million, we'll be uncovering every secret connection there is to find. On our show today, we have Swiggity Swoo.
Hey, finally some good things in the news for once. I'm just kidding. I have no idea what's going to be in the news when this comes out.
John.
Foresight is unpredictable anyway.
Hey.
I need you to stick your head in a bucket of water and slowly count to 1,000.
That is a good one.
Love that one. And I'm ReaderWarrior. And today we're going to be covering Mistborn, Alloy of Law, Part 2, Chapters 13 through 15. And I believe, Swiggity, you have 13?
Yeah, I'll take it away. Get right into it.
Well, don't go too far. I need that.
So, this is like an action chapter. Picks up right where the other one left off. Wax is being hunted. Bullets are flying, and he soon makes his way to the top of the train. His assailant follows him and takes off his mask, revealing with little surprise to be Miles' 100 lives. He also has an aluminum gun, which is not good. So Wax, whose bullets are bouncing off Miles like I bounced off Assassin's Creed Shadows, shoots a tree and does a kind of Sonic the Hedgehog spring maneuver and lands in between two train cars. He could end this here and now, but how do you kill a bloodmaker like Miles? He's not just practically invincible, he's a vicious fighter. He beats up Wax a bit until they end up having a standoff on top of the train again. Wax shoots the gun from Miles' hand, the very expensive aluminum gun, and Miles confesses he always wondered if he would have a chance to kill Wax. He suggests that, or he in his mind he has a scenario where Wax lets a criminal go, and then he gets to hunt down Wax. Anyways, they get a chance to spit ideology, and Miles talks of how the city doesn't care for the Roughs, how they had a murderer who fled to the Roughs and they never sent anyone after him. He believes he's upholding the law still, just going after bigger criminals. They fight some more. Miles stabs himself. Oh, sorry, it says here he makes a meat sheath, and Wax gets thrown off the train.
Wow.
Get that one out of your head.
He pushes on the railway to catch up to the train, and he sends Miles flying by pushing him off the train. I don't remember if it was like a gun or a bullet casing, but he gets him to hold on to something that he can actually push allomantically on. And then we have a little bit of a time skip until later, where he's getting a refund from this train trip because the workers tell him, "Oh, they're so sorry. We were told to stop for nothing, not even gunshots." Marasi blushes a lot because Wax takes his shirt off, but she helps treat the wound while Wayne makes jokes with a tone somehow mixing schoolyard with old-timey pervert. It all culminates in him getting his way, though, as they agree to attempt to lay low at an old friend's house. That's pretty much it.
Very straightforward chapter, that one.
Yep. Swiggity once again getting a fighting chapter. Who would have thought? So at one point they showcase Miles's metal minds, and he's describing them as screws that are in his body. I'm sort of like Frankenstein-esque in my mind is how I'm seeing them.
I thought they were just like nails.
Is it like spikes that were
I thought they were just spikes.
See, and I picture them like regular bracers, but with barbs that kind of pierce and hold onto his skin.
There were spikes he wore driven through the skin of his lower arm like bolts. Metal that pierced skin was extremely different to touch with steel pushing.
So a bit of a bit of a contradiction in the sense that bolts are screwed in and like it says they were driven in, like a spike would be.
Well, you can get self-tapping screws that drive themselves. But I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. Like it's a from like
Well, what do
weird
you
way to
think? He
put
had
it.
he had some guy come in with a pilot drill, and then he tapped it, and then he, hey, this is 7/8. I needed 5/8.
Yeah, right.
Well, my question was gonna be, why doesn't tapping healing like push those out?
Probably with a sense of because of Cosmere magic stuff that we haven't necessarily learned about yet that we can talk about in the spoiler section.
Nice segue. A little early, but nice segue.
Okay, different healing question. At one point, like Wax tries to put him in a chokehold. Would the healing prevent him from being blacked out?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's actually even called out somewhere.
But they commented like he didn't know if that would protect him from it.
That is a good question.
Yes, because as his windpipe is being crushed and being damaged, he's actively healing it, and
But if you're
repairing
just
that
preventing
damage.
oxygen from going in, right? You can't heal lack of oxygen, can you?
What I was thinking of, I just realized, is actually from the Dresden Files, which I'm reading in between chapters. So I don't know.
It seems like something to look up. See if there's a
Like, I'm
wob.
just go to sleep, go to sleep. Like if you were to put chloroform over his face, would he be able to heal past that?
Well,
Yeah.
we have other instances of healing effects curing poisons. So,
Mhm.
or does that count as a spoiler?
No, because we saw Wayne do it.
Okay, cool. You're
Yeah.
right, we did. Yep, cool. So we know that in the case of chloroform, he'd be fine.
Yes. But if you were to like choke him out, would he be able to use healing to stay awake? Is the question.
I think yes, because
Okay.
part of the reason that so the lack of oxygen is causing damage to your body, which
Well,
cause doesn't it?
it's not just the lack of oxygen, it's also the buildup of CO2, which is a poison, which we know
Yeah.
he can deal with. So there's double evidence there, or double suggestion, I guess.
But it's poison you don't see as poison, really.
Is poop poison? Because your body works to expel that too.
Hot take.
We get our credits. Because Miles says alloy of law in the chapter. I thought that was funny.
He said the thing.
Said the thing.
Roll credits. That's it.
Wax
That's
does
the end.
capital S shoved. And this kind of set me on a bit of a tangent. So Wax uses the train tracks as like a spikeway.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so I kind of went on a wait, how fast or hard does one have to push in order to catch up to a locomotive?
Oh, that's
Do you really want to do the math?
that's what you were
I
thinking.
did do the math.
So
You did do the math?
I did do the
How do you do this math?
Assuming like 80 kilograms, which is average weight for a fit adult in their 30s. And he's streamlining, so he's not just T-posing and getting a lot of drag. Elementic thrust.
did you do this math, or did ChatGPT do this math?
Well, I had to submit all the calculations, and then it did the hard math.
Mm-hmm. Just checking.
Uh-huh. So if
Calculating.
I'm trying to see where I had the actual answer written because it basically just does the math and then here we go. And I assume the train was running at like an average speed of American Wild
Average
West trains, which was
train
close to
speed.
about 45 miles per hour. And a coin shot can apparently push with about 200 newtons of forward thrust, which would be about 240 meters in 30 seconds. So,
It's
according
feasible?
to the math, by flaring, it is very feasible for somebody to catch up to a moving train.
Wait a second, they did this on Mythbusters.
Mythbusters Cosmere Edition.
I forgot about that.
Leave it to Jamie Heineman.
All this math.
Yeah, I heard he's a
Showing.
tin eye.
And then for the second half, there's a part where somebody says nothing, but it's in all caps, and that just made me laugh.
I know.
Oh, it's when Wayne was like, "Hey, remember that?" Wax was like, "Hey, remember that one time with Wayne?" And he's like, "What? Don't bring it up. Nothing." And nothing was in all caps, and it just made me laugh.
When you brought up the part about him using the steel pushing on the railway, it made me go down a rabbit hole of wondering how the Allomancy lines work. Like the blue steel pushing lines that you see, they go from your like the center of your body outwards, right, to the source of metal. But then, like,
Yes.
as you know, with a railway like that, like it's just this long thing, right? Like, how does it know which part of the rail?
You would know. And so, like, similar. So, remember in Era 1, we saw Vin using the spikeway to get between, way back in book 1, using the spikeway to get between, where she was
Feliz
staying in
and
Luthadel.
yeah,
Feliz. I was like, it started
yeah.
with an F. I was like, Feliz in Luthadel. And you essentially just have to plant yourself in the center, and you're like pushing on the spikes as you go past. So it's the same concept with the train, because on the train tracks, there are spikes in the train tracks. So
Right.
you would be pushing on those constantly as you're going.
There's a small problem with Realmatics there, which we'll have to save for the spoiler section.
Oh, that's 2 plugs for the spoiler section then.
Yeah, I don't see how I can postulate my theorem without getting really deep in the weeds.
But do you kind of get what
Both
I'm
of-
saying? Where like if you have like a bullet in your hand, like obviously the line's going to go straight to the bullet, you know. But if you have like this long like strip of metal, like
Yeah,
how
and
can you control that? Is that
So
like
so I don't think he would be pushing off the strip of metal necessarily.
oh yes,
I
he
think
is.
you think he's pushing off the strip of metal
He is
and not
pushing vertically off of the rail.
Okay, is that what it says?
It has to be, because he has to be pushing himself more or less straight up, or he'd be getting out, or he'd be. No, he would have to.
See, I just thought it was
The
pushing
vertical
underneath.
component of the force he is exerting on the tracks has to be roughly equal to the force of gravity pulling him back down to Earth, or he would gain altitude.
also I think it's
In order for
funny
him
that
to.
you use the average weight of like a 30-year-old when we're talking about somebody who can store their weight.
This is
Yeah,
true.
I suppose that math
He could
did
just
not
reduce his
use-
weight to essentially 0, push himself up in the air, and then just shoot straight back. But he can't do that because he can't push directly backwards because there's nothing directly behind him. so he has to at least have some weight pulling him down to maintain his altitude.
Well, there's the nails that go into the wooden planks on the side. That's what I thought he was using.
And
Or like Vins.
it could be, but that's where the Realmatics question mark comes in. Bring this back up, put a pin in it. Put a pin in it.
And to be fair, when you were saying all the calculations, it didn't occur to me until just now saying it. So,
And my last note is I really wanted to be like a train conductor / engineer as a kid, so I kind of enjoyed the little bit.
honestly, same.
I never did. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a Jedi. Or at
Well-
the very least, an X-Wing starfighter pilot.
Well, like a ninja pirate train conductor robot.
Nice. Your kid
Anything
self was
else?
awesome.
13.
Mine is lame. I just wanted to be a teacher.
Sometimes you have Wayne, sometimes you have Steris.
Okay.
Chapter 14.
Chapter 14. We get to meet the in the entire book. I greatly enjoy this Ranette's introduction. It is so funny that they show up to her house, knock on her door, and without missing a beat, opens the door, pulls a shotgun on them, doesn't say a word other than to tell them that she's gonna count to 10, and that's it. Doesn't tell them what's gonna happen when she finishes her count. You could kind of assume, but she just like
they
you have
presumably
until
know.
10. I know, but it's just very funny. It's just like you can clearly tell that like Ranette knows Wax and Wayne very, very well, and they know her very, very well as well. This is not the first time she's been introduced. She's been mentioned a number of times before earlier in the book. They do let her in by bribing her with the aluminum gun that Wayne had traded the constables for previously. And so she lets them in because she wants to look at the fun gun. Because as we find out, Ranette is a gun maker. She is the one who has made all of Wax's guns. The ones that he's been most recently using, she didn't make, but his previous guns, the ones that he had given to the butler for storage.
She did make the one that he lost on the train.
Oh, she did. She did. Okay,
Mhm.
I missed that.
She says, "Oh, I made you with this," and he goes, "Oh yeah, I just lost it fighting Miles 100 Lives."
Oh yeah. So so she's made all of his guns. She makes all of his guns that he uses because he is she's the best gun maker according to Wax. Which from what we see in this chapter, she's pretty damn good. So makes sense.
I've always wanted that. I've always wanted like, oh, you gotta get like. I've always wanted like. I guess for me it would be guitars. It's like a guitar guy who makes like like I only go to this guy or this girl or and they make the best and they're like always improvising and like, oh, I've got something new for you to try. Like that's one of my favorite like tropes. The gearhead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very fun trope. So
Need a new Styrian. What's wrong with the ones you have? Gave them to the aforementioned butler. And he probably dumped them in the canals. What of your amber sayers? I made you one of those, didn't I? I did. I lost it fighting Miles Together earlier today.
yeah. So
Hold on, what did you say?
he
Miles
pronounced it wrong. It's okay.
the Gouter.
Dégoûté?
Sure.
So
De Gouter.
I don't have the verbal element.
So
Miles 100 lives.
we find out that Ranette is a lurcher as well. And she's got a whole bunch of cool things. She's got a whole bunch of cool systems set up in her house so that she essentially has automatic doors that she can just open and close with her allomantic powers. And she turns all the locks with her powers as well. It's really cool setup in her house, honestly.
There's always another secret.
Mhm. As we're going through, so we find out Ranette has made all of Wax's guns, and he's hoping that she will give him another gun. He's trying to persuade her. At first she's like not really having it, but as they're trying to plan their next move, figure out what they're going to do, they learn that there is a Tikiel is shipping, has been making a huge big fuss about their next shipment with this impossible to break open train car that they're going to use. They've been making a whole big fuss about it. And so Wax is like, that's their target. That's their next target. That's where they're going to hit. And kind of he talks to Marasi, and
This is
he
my
figures
chapter
out.
you're in now.
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm so
How
sorry.
dare you.
I'm so sorry.
Bring it on, savage.
My bad. I'll stop talking then.
Hazekiller rounds.
So yes,
communication.
I will talk about the Hazekiller. So Wax is walking around in Ranette's house in her workroom, and he finds these weird bullets. And so he asks her about them, and he finds out that she calls them Hazekiller rounds. And they are rounds made specifically for different types of allomancers. So there's a round for steel pushers, where it's made partially of metal and partially of
Ceramic.
like ceramic. Yeah. And so when it's made so that when the allomancer pushes on the metal part breaks off and the ceramic part continues going and hits them. It still hits them. There's also a lurcher round, which is similar, but instead when they pull on it, the ceramic shatters and essentially explodes, trying to hurt them, hurt the lurchers. The Ironeyes, the bullet makes a lot of noise to throw off the Ironeye, to kind of stun them. And the pewter arm one is like super strong. Like it's a very tough bullet to try to knock back a pewter arm because they're tough. So
What's that
as
line from
he-
Hellboy? It's like, I don't have very good aim, but this American shoots big bullets. That's the pewter bullet.
So get to see these ammunitions. Marasi, like, well, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sell these? Are you gonna patent these bullets? And Ranette kind of looks at her and she's just like, why would I want people to come to my house to buy things from me?
Ranette's an odd duck.
She
I love
is. So Wax is talking her up about how cool these Hazekiller rounds are, and so they also tell her that part of the reason that they're after them is that Miles has kidnapped these women that they are planning to use to make more allomancers. And I think this is partially what kind of triggers Ranette actually agreeing to give to loan Wax her fancy new gun that she made, Vindication, is that she really doesn't want something to happen to these women. Like, it's really, like, it'd be very bad if something did. So, and so she has this fancy new gun called Vindication. It's got 8 chambers instead of the usual 6. And um it is it makes it so that there are 2 of the chambers are locked. So typically when you're firing it, it won't fire out of those chambers unless you make it so that it does. So you can put the Hazekiller rounds in those chambers, and um and you won't be worried about accidentally firing them when you don't need to. And
I
it
wonder.
is
Sorry, I wonder how we came up with that. Like, that is so genius. Like, you guys can picture it, right? Like, you have all 8 chambers, and the 2 chambers that have the Hazekiller rounds, there's a little keyway, right? Like a little slot. And if you're not pushing on it, you well, I don't know. It skips it, right? But
yeah.
like
Mhm.
just for him to but then the only way to get there is to like pull it out. For him to like actually come up with that, like I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and how you access it, Alum. You can use either steel pushing or iron pulling. It would work with either, um, to access those Hazekiller rounds. And so only people who are steel pushers or iron pullers can actually use the gun. It's got a
Yeah.
safety on it as well that is that that requires steel pushing or iron pulling to use, which is like
This
really cool. And as she points out, she's like, this way, if someone steals your gun, they can't use it on you.
which is great,
And
but
specifically only
given what she said about what her plans were for the bullets, why would she make a gun that can be activated by someone who has a power other than hers? Unless she was
Because
planning, yeah, this
she was
gun was
planning
designed
it.
to be shared with Wax. Totally.
Yeah.
it potentially, or it's the fact she had to point out, hey, push or pull on that bit. Otherwise, you're just pushing out a gun. You wouldn't know that, hey, that part's a secret low mechanism. So even
Yeah.
if a different coin shot or a different lurcher were to get the gun, they wouldn't know to push or pull on that and to use it unless specifically told.
Or if they specifically
Well,
looked for it.
right. Yeah, that whole
Like
Realmatics thing.
if they I think if they knew enough about guns and like the structure of the gun, like typical structure of the guns, to see it as the different parts versus just as a gun, they they would be able to notice that it was there.
Right.
But that would require specific knowledge.
Mm.
So, also it's called Vindication after Vin, the Ascendant Warrior, which is very um
I think she just
and
likes making guns too. Like, freaking, the name it made me think of it too. It's just like this legendary thing. In fantasy, you always have these legendary weapons, like the cranky blacksmith. And this is totally that. She's made this new kind of gun that only like her and Wax can use, and like I love it. And who knows? Maybe she'll make some more guns. What's
yeah.
that requires?
Yeah.
If you like cranky blacksmiths, play Final Fantasy 16. Just saying.
It's on my list.
So
It's
we
good.
also find out who Ranette is able to figure out who made the aluminum gun, and it is a gunsmith that she knows who went missing. And inside of the gun, they find a some writing that's in High Imperial.
Buzzing the wear of needing.
Buzzing the wear of needing.
Did I get it right?
I think that's correct. Buzzing the wear of needing. Yeah, that's exactly what. And this is our very first interaction with High Imperial, which is very fun. Which is Spook's BS slang that he had that is now high important documents are written in this weird slang language that no one understands. And it is used for important ceremonies, which is very funny.
Do you think in Mistborn Era 3, divorced dads are going to walk around with gray t-shirts with a flag on them that say "Wasn't the wear of needing"?
Oh, we are feisty
That's great.
Baby. The roughs
So-
will rise again.
Let's save that for the spoiler
Uh,
section. Sorry.
And that's kind of it. I mean, they decide that they need to go after Miles. Ranette's not gonna help them go after him, but she is going to give Lone Wax, the gun for a test run, as she said. Like, you can have it for a test run as long as you give me a field report on how it runs, how it works.
5 hours later, dearest Ranette, it jammed on the first load. I am dead.
Or
Signed Wayne.
I killed 8 people. Thank you.
Man, she just had a lot of great lines in her first appearance. Like
She
1,
has
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and I love when they like take a step to the side, and Marasi is like, "What's going on?" And Wax like pulls her to the side, and the shotgun
I
comes
would not
out.
They-
stand directly in
yeah.
front of her.
They knock on the door and then immediately step to the side. They knew exactly what was going to happen. And then after she pulls the shotgun out and they get off her stoop, they just hang out there. And they're like, and Marasi is like, what is going on? She was like, and he was like, just wait, just give her a second.
She hasn't killed anybody that I know of.
I think it
Nah,
shows.
After they
hasn't-
ventured her house.
Yeah, I was like, she hasn't ever shot anyone after she has let them into her house.
Yeah, I think she's got a good. Like, I honestly think she puts up this cranky like attitude, but deep down she's good people because. Like, she doesn't do the Men in Black thing with that one guy where they're just constantly shooting his head off because they know he can regrow it. Like, she doesn't assume Wayne is just going to be able to regrow. Like, she's not just shooting him.
And it
I
sounds
think
like,
she had in the past.
but she's she has never hit him in a place that was vital. She shot his foot once, but every other time that she has tried to shoot him, she has missed. Which kind of leads me to believe that like she wasn't really trying to hit him in those instances. Like she was just
Trying to give him a
trying
warning
to
shot.
to scare him.
Which
There's a reference to the. Sorry.
I was gonna say, which only served to intrigue him further, as he likes a woman who can beat him up or shoot him
Yep.
a bunch.
Yep.
Wayne needs therapy.
Yes.
Or an
There's a
effective
reference
dom.
Okay. Very spicy this episode.
Well, you know.
There's a reference to the survivor's deadly name, whatever the heck that is.
How dare you suspect my name of not being deadly? Of course it is deadly. I spit on you.
It's been so long, Kelsey. She has a chair with wheels on it, which I just kind of laughed at.
got a rolly chair.
Yeah, she's got a
I've got a
chair.
rolly chair. What's funny
At
about
what point
that?
were rolly chairs invented?
Probably in Ranette's basement, where she keeps the lotion for her skin. Don't. Sorry.
She probably made the rolly chair herself.
Mhm.
Rolling chairs were invented in the mid 18th century, with Thomas Jefferson creating the swivel chair around 1775.
That can't be right. He definitely stole that from a slave.
And the concept of a rotating chair with swivel casters was illustrated by the Nuremberg noble Martin Loffelholz von Kolberg in 1505.
Wow.
Thanks, Google.
What? Much earlier than I thought. Interesting. Cool. So, very likely that Ranette could have a swivel chair based on our vague, not really time period, but because it's not Earth, but
Vague approximation of Earth-like technology levels.
yeah.
I mean, if
And
they already have chairs and they already have wheels, it's not really a leap, I would say. That big of a leap, right?
I agree.
my last two notes are Ranette hates people sensing her allomancy, but her house is full of like the most obvious clues of being an allomancer.
Yeah, but how many people are really allowed into her house?
Probably not very few, but
If I could make a
Um,
callback to, sorry, reader, I thought you were done. But to our first season of this podcast, we had gone around the horn and just asked, "Hey, what would your allomancy power be?" And I talked about how, being a machinist, like just the ability to pull metal things towards you, if you drop them or anything like that, would just be freaking awesome. And she is realized that in her lifestyle,
To the
being
next
a
level.
lurcher.
that was going to
She
be my other thing.
has optimized her house.
Just living my dream a little bit.
Well, that was going to be my last thing, is that I'm pretty sure this chapter proved that lurchers are way better than coin shots in the average day-to-day life.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Just
Depends
wait
on
till they
what you're trying to
and
do.
beverages.
I would take being a lurcher over a coin shot.
Like I said, depends on what you're trying to do.
Why was she
Chapter
so
15.
mean to Marasi? I mean, not really mean, but she just had that one off comment, right?
Yeah, who's the
She
ornament?
is just. I think that's just Ranette. Because she's also mean to everyone, kind of. And I think that is her just
Resting bitch voice.
yeah. And it's new person who looks very timid and is very quiet, and so she's like, "Why do you have this with you? This doesn't make sense." Like, I think it's more so what it is. It's like, "Why is she with you? This doesn't seem
Does not
like
compute.
the vibe that of a person who would be with the two of you."
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally.
Chapter 15.
Mhm.
Okie dokie.
Architects.
So because he doesn't want to look as bad or as lesser than a rich man like Mr. Suit, Miles lies about his attempt on Wax's life. He claims he faced him like a lawman, face to face, when, in fact, he shot at his back and only uncovered his own face when it interfered with his healing. Even so, Miles knew they would have to face each other again and only one would be left standing. They weren't friends, they were just respected each other's roles. They make their way through the Vanisher's lair. Suit warns him how the set, the group he represents, is disappointed in Miles' failure, though Suit has defended him even with the possibility of betrayal. Miles hasn't decided yet if he would or wouldn't, and the reason he requested so much aluminum was so it could finance his own goals separate from the set. Suit tells Miles to continue the job tonight, then focus on recruitment, and when that's done, the set will decide if the mystery of the Vanishers will be needed. Miles is also to kill Wax tonight and to use Steris as bait. The set is also leaving 2 guards to help and chaperone Miles. Then, taking a train of his own, Suit leaves. Miles watches as his people move the machine, capital M, into place. He's proud of it and the progression it represents. He jumps down, healing from the impact immediately, and watches his babysitters to see that one is a coin shot and the other is a lurcher. They walk as Miles takes note of their readiness, and they had fewer numbers but better. Takes note of their readiness. They had fewer numbers but better readiness, is what I wrote. With Clamps and Tarson as 2 of his most trusted individuals, as much as he could trust murderers. Miles regrets having killed Peterus, not because it was wrong, but because Miles believed Trell, his god, gave him a steady mind, and he also believes that the survivor inspired him. With a sigh,
Pause for effect.
pause for effect.
Of course I inspired him to kill the nobleman. What else would I do?
Right. I'm trying to come up with a good metaphor for it, but I really do feel like people take like Kelsier's actions and just kind of say like, well, I'm being like him when they're
That
actually
is very
insane.
typical of religion in general.
Yeah, to one-dimensionalize their teaching or their philosophy.
Yes.
Which is ironic because Kelsier's religion is survive, not kill.
Right.
But if you look at his actions,
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do.
Right. But it was like leading up to this one big guy who was like, needed to be killed, kind of. And Miles
But
is just like
honestly,
taking it out on, like, I don't know, there is a larger plan, but I don't know, it's ugly.
so, but at the same time, like, Miles has a similar ideology as like Kelsier had in the first book. Like he's looking at the people who are being forgotten about, being ignored, being mistreated by the government and saying this is wrong. And so I am going to start attacking people for it. Now, I don't think I think his ideology is good, but he's not going about it in a way that actually makes sense for achieving that ideology. Um, because like stealing stuff and like kidnapping women, it doesn't really make sense with what his ideology is. It doesn't fit. Because like those ideas were not his. Those ideas were the sets. You can kind of tell that like there's a distinction between the two.
Yeah, he seems to be a little out of touch, if you ask
Mm.
me. Like I get where he's coming from, but that's where I fall on it. There's also like a little bit of a personal vendetta thing between Kelsier and the Lord Ruler that always kind of gets to me. Like, you know, they killed his wife, and in response he overthrew the government, which I always find to be badass.
there's a line in The West Wing where they comment how violent revolution or violent protest never actually do anything.
Mhm.
I can't remember the specific line.
Violence begets more violence is the quote that I've heard before.
That is a very good quote. That's kind of what it was. But,
Yeah, I believe the episode was Isaac and Ishmael.
yep. But the problem is that in Kelsier's time, there was no capability to raise a voice against the government for the most part. And Miles, although he may not think he can, has that capability.
Right.
But
I think it's different to have, you know, I think it's different to have wealthy people that are more or less apathetic to anything happening outside their city versus like one guy who has an army of invincible dudes with spikes in their eyes that chop your head off. Like things were different back then in a way that like you know they aren't now in this era.
yeah. But then there's also a question of, oh, just because it's not as bad now doesn't mean we should have to suffer. Right? Just because, oh, like, oh, my grandparents said, oh, they had it worse. Okay. People are still in pain. People are still suffering. Should we just not do anything because it's not as bad as it was back then?
No, but there are different ways to go about it now. You
Yeah.
can go about it now that Miles is choosing to ignore and to not do.
Right, like
Right.
why didn't he just appeal to Wax? Wax has influence now. He could actually probably get some things changed. Like
Because it's probably a mixture of A, he's inspired by the survivor and how, just shoot all the people who are ruining everything, quote unquote, versus he wants quick results. He wants something
And,
immediate. He doesn't want to
and
wait.
I think the difference as well is that Miles doesn't want change, Miles wants revenge.
Right. Which is the other half of his ideology. He's looking to get some payback and,
Mhm.
but he wants revenge for his wasted years. He wants
Yes.
revenge for all the time he was out there shooting criminals and how now he must know that that's never going to change things, but the time has already been wasted.
Mhm.
With a sigh, Miles burns gold and sees himself in two moments. One was the lawman he used to be, and the other is the vanisher he has now become. Miles hated the other Miles, and the other Miles hates Miles. He
Yeah.
Because
What he
that's not
said.
confusing.
he extinguishes the metal and sags, ordering the set guards to inspect his men for metal on their bodies. Sorry. As they leave, Miles wonders if the other Miles was actually him or a branch of who he might have been. But such thoughts, were too much like the lost metal atium to him, so just gonna push that aside. He did this burning to showcase that he can mix himself with who he was and to make an alloy of himself. Miles was really big on alloys, apparently.
Metal fetishists. All of them.
Miles doesn't worry about fear, doesn't need to worry about ruling through fear or strength. His goals are righteous. He walks over to a pile of trunks, some of which were taken from Wax's mansion by the set. He reaches into one of his own and grabs his old lawman attire. He would face Wax with justice on his side. An interesting character, and it does kind of showcase what Brandon has said, like, oh, in any other story, Kelsier is the villain. But we're also, I think one of the main things is like he's not as charismatic as Kelsier was, and so we
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
empathize with him nearly as enough as we might. but we do kind of see, and I especially see it like nowadays with everything going on around the world and the 1%ers and everything, like wanting that immediate action to change things, to fix things. But you can't just go around shoot, shoot, bullet, bullet, gun.
Yeah, I'm also glad at no point was Kelsier's plan ever to kidnap a bunch of people and, like, maybe force them to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So Wax is sleuthing. He's recreated his investigation board, and thanks to Wayne, he has a list of all upcoming shipments. He deduces that Miles will strike the Breaknot train car at Carlo's Bend from Doxanar. See, this is where he deduces that. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just jumped ahead.
Marasi enters, looking at the board, and is surprised to see he thinks he solved the mystery of the Phantom rail car, it being a fake train with a moving rail platform to distract from canal movements. She reports that the constables found the old hideout and expresses concern for Wayne in Ranette's presence. Marasi also reminds Wax that he doesn't need to do it all by himself. Wax tends to do it all by himself. He just needs to take down Miles on his own. They're too similar. He is being bullheaded, but he did also give a letter to Ranette to send to the constables that explains everything. And then with Marasi's acceptance, Wax even gives her a role in his plan. She and Wayne will be on the hilltop overlooking, while Wax will be in the car. Marasi worries that she's being benched because of her naivete, but Wax asks if she's heard of Paclo the Dusty. Is that how it's pronounced in the audiobook?
Yes.
Awesome. He was Wax's deputy before Wayne, and he was one of the most startleable men he had ever met, but he was also incredibly brave. What they have that she doesn't yet is experience. She tries to flirt, but Wax sidesteps it completely. As she leaves, Wax comments how well she reads him, and she says it was mostly thanks to his psychological profile. And then he then puts on his Pathian earring to work and pray that everything will work out. Yep. Anything for this section?
Not anymore.
Man, I wish I had more to say. I really do. I don't feel like having another long talk about the Wax and Marasi dynamic.
That's fair and legit. Like, we've kind of beaten that one pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is this one part where Wax says the word police that throws me off. And I like the reference for Paclo the Dusty to that one person all the way back in Arrow 1 that was so scared of his shadow, but showcases him more in a heroic light.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Neither do I.
I was gonna say, what?
There's a person all the way back when Kelsier is making the crew that they're like, oh, what about this person? He's like, oh, that person, he's scared of his own shadow.
Oh, I do remember them talking about that.
Trips? I think it's Trips or Traps.
See.
I thought Traps was the smoker that died.
Yeah. I think Traps died. Anyway.
You might be right.
I
Damn.
don't think it matters all that much.
I know, it's just, how cool would it be if we actually knew that?
Single name drop characters. That's our whole shtick right there.
Anything else for this chapter set as I do that one last search?
Well, was there some funny stuff happening with, like, Wayne drawing? I can't remember.
Yeah. Wayne made some funny drawings on Wax's paper. Also, he took one of Ranette's to trade for the information that he got about the trains.
Oh, right. And
Well, that's actually a note I had.
And
And
he was like, and Wax was like, I really hope to not be here when Ranette finds out about that.
That sounds like it'd be bad for everybody's health.
Yep.
yeah, it was. Where was the line? It actually stood out to me. Apparently, Wayne had left a gun he'd borrowed from Ranette in place of the manifests. But I distinctly remember like there being a character.
So minor that he didn't even
Vent.
warrant.
Okay.
Here he is.
Dang it, it is Vent. Ah, you're right.
Vent is a scout who lived in the Final Empire. He knew Kelsier and Doxon and was extremely nervous and jumpy. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Now that tangent has gotten resolved.
I don't know if
Uh,
that
I mean-
relates to this Pablo guy or whatever his name was.
It was definitely not Pablo.
No, but it was supposed to be close to it because it was Paclo.
Paclo, the Dusty.
Paclo.
Is a reference.
One
at least
letter
some
over.
hint.
Just like
In the alphabet.
yes.
All right.
Okey-dokey.
Do we have anything more to say, or are we ready to go into the spoilers section?
I think we're just jabbering at this point.
I think we're all a bit giggly because we hadn't recorded in a bit.
Ready to move
Um,
on.
Okay, so next time we're going to be covering part 3, chapters 16 and 17. But for now, it is time to head into the spoiler realm. So if you have not finished this book, the entire series, or potentially the entire Cosmere, then we recommend you stop here because it is likely that we will talk about everything and anything. If you are caught up, feel free to stick around because it is likely we will bring up details one may have missed or plot threads still yet to come. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, star, heart, or whatever it is on this podcast, and don't be afraid to comment your own thoughts and predictions. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on our socials via the link tree in our description. But this is where we must part, and my name is ReaderWarrior, and I have been joined by Swiggity Swoo.
Comments if I made you yawn.
John.
Bye.
And Kay.
Have a good one.
Don't forget, there's always another connection. Bye. And we're back. Spoilers.
Yay.
Woo.
Okay. Chapter 13.
So we had 2 Realmatics questions that we were going to
Yes.
answer.
Or at least debate.
Or at least debate. The
Yes, so
first one.
why doesn't healing push out metal mines?
Oh, I think that has to do with identity. And how he sees himself as the metal mines are like part of him. So when he heals, it wouldn't shove them out because they're a part of who he is.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with that. I think that's a very strong part of it. He probably has also undergone some amount of mental training to kind of force himself not to heal that specific bit. And given that it states that he's constantly undergoing healing, he has probably achieved some level of savantism with that.
I do actually have in my note, is Miles a gold-faring savant?
Yeah, and
Can-
I kind of think he is.
I
Can
think
you
so.
be a savant or ferrochemical powers?
On one hand, I would want to say that any magical investiture ability can get you to a savant stage
Um,
because it's magic touching your spiritual spirit web. On the other hand, it could be that it's because he's a compounder.
that's what I was gonna say.
But then he would be
An
he'd be
augury savant?
an augury savant.
Right, but that's not the power he's using. I'm thinking that the compounding would. Compounding is weird and I don't like it. I've said that before, right? Like, I don't
Yeah.
like that.
I
Yeah.
really
It's
like
weird
this
that I-
question. Could you become a savant if you're compounding? Because technically you're burning metal, but the effect you're getting is totally unique to that
Right.
or original. You know, my gut says yes, right? Like, what causes the savantism?
Like,
Is
it's
it
a permanent change of your spirit web from the constant pressure of your use of investiture. So I think that
So then, yes.
Here we go. 2016. Is there such thing as a ferrochemical savant? I did not write ferrochemical savants into the original outline. Whether or not I will do them, it's highly unlikely because it's not there, and Mistborn is getting trickier and trickier in that regard. But I didn't write them in, so that's probably a not. A later question, are there ferrochemical savants? Much harder to do. My feeling on ferrochemical savants, in this, so it's much more recent, was because it was your own power in the first place. You can't steep in it so much in the way. If you can get someone else's power, or if you're feeling your ferochemy another way, you would become one. So the Lord Ruler is a good example. Was Miles a ... Yeah, Miles would doing the same sort of thing.
oh
Is that
yes.
why
so
you
there,
didn't
there you
ask
have it.
execution? Yes. So yeah, normally no, but if you can compound, you could become. Basically, that is how I am explaining part of the compounding abilities.
So
But-
if you can compound, you can become a ferrochemical savant. But otherwise, like if you're using your own ferrochemical powers, you cannot become a savant.
But that means you could also become a savant with identity fuckery.
Yes. Yes. If you're using the like metal discs and stuff that the Southern Scadrians have, where like that is outside of yourself, like you're getting power from someone somewhere else, you could also become a savant that way. It sounds like a ferrochemical.
Yeah.
So Wayne having that metal mind in Bands of Mourning, potentially.
I don't know that that would be enough investiture to achieve
Yeah.
I don't think so, but potentially.
savantism, but the concept is there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
someone else's power.
If there was more of it, yes. But
What else
So,
you got?
if, well, I'm going from the top of my notes. How quick does one have to be in order to see a steel line of a bullet? Or is it also like ATM where some part of you is able to recognize steel lines better than just visual cue?
well, Wax has stated earlier in the book, he did state that by the time that he sees the bullet coming at him, it's generally too late to push on the bullet to change its to actively like mentally push on that bullet to change its trajectory. That's why he created his steel bubble. To provide that layer of protection around him.
That
I think
tracks.
my question. Yeah,
I
think
haven't
I'm
really
just sort
been
of wondering.
around like bullets, but they seem like they would go too fast for you to be able to see them. I don't know. I really don't think it alters your perception the way ATM does.
No, I don't think it does either. I think you'd have
Mhm.
to have access to both of those things to be able to, go Matrix on the, but it's a slightly tricky question because bullets don't have a single constant speed, right? Like that the speed of a bullet varies widely based
Even, like,
on
the slowest
powder
bullets are
charge.
pretty.
Oh yeah, no doubt they wouldn't be effective if they didn't move quickly, but
Oh, so
yeah,
there's
either way.
question: if you're burning atium, would that even help you against a gun?
I think that would.
Yes.
Because ATM expands the mind, and
Mhm.
that was sort of the question: is does steel sort of do the same? And we've collectively said no for steel, but if ATM can, then I think that would give you the ability to bullet dodge. If you could see the future far enough and be able to react quick enough.
Or if you were burning atium and steel, then you could push bullets out of the way.
Yeah.
There was a line, how do you fight someone who's virtually immortal? Brandon in most of his books. Okay, so the healing. So I also brought this up. If someone has like Miles in a chokehold, and we were talking about could he heal from being like blacked out? I don't think
Right.
it would work
Why?
because the healing is mostly on a physical level. It doesn't like add oxygen to his brain or something. If you were to throw him into space, he can't sustain himself.
How do you know that?
It just doesn't sound right. But also because another ferrochemical ability is to store like breath, like breathing capability. Yeah, stores breath, cadmium. So I would assume that's under like a different subsection.
I'm not really sure. Storing breath is such a strange thing. How would that work?
Apparently, you're just gaspy. Yo, dude,
Also,
are you
like,
okay?
what
Yeah,
would
I'm
that
just storing breath.
what would that even be useful for?
Swimming.
Spelunking, snorkeling,
Potentially
firefighting.
in space.
I guess if you had like a breathing apparatus of sorts, you'd store your breath for a long time. And
Or being on
then,
planets with a different atmosphere.
yeah.
We haven't really seen any of those in the Cosmere yet, but.
Oh,
Do, 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 do.
John, we did start to talk about the pushing on the rails,
The
and
rails.
you
Yeah,
wanted to.
so
Yeah, that was going to be
there's
the next thing.
yeah, so we've kind of touched on this concept before about these like metal objects that are made of different parts. Part of, I think, and this is my little like thinking about it spiel, part of the problem with pushing on components of things seems to me like it would be likely tied to identity of the object, how the object views itself spiritually, right? The railroads think of themselves as a rail because that's how we think of them. We don't generally think of the individual ties, spikes, crossbeams, whatever. So, when he's pushing on these things, where is he pushing on it? Where is he pulling on it? How does that work? Because Vin does it too in Creedic Shaw when she's pulling on the giant spikes and like pulling herself up off the ground and stuff to hide from the Inquisitor. So it's weird to me that he can use the rails like a mag train
Yeah.
as opposed to like the spikeways, like those were discrete objects that Vin could just be like, bam, push, bam, push. Whereas the rail, it's like, it's a contiguous thing.
Well, we've had arguments, I say broadly, about at what point a object becomes a singular object if it's in pieces. Like you don't
Right.
put the train tracks down as one giant thing. They're done in separate pieces.
Correct. But when you think about railroad tracks, you don't think of the individual ties that make up the length of that track. You think of the track for the most
Yeah.
part. You know, obviously some
That
people who like build them will think of them differently or whatever, but you know.
Then it's just a question about how long would it take for those to think that. Also, we love bringing up the fact that Wax can, on some level, break something apart with his steel pushing abilities. Maybe this is just him doing
Right.
it subconsciously.
'Cause
So
he
we
does it.
do know that you can push or pull on different parts of the same metal. We see different characters do this. I think Kelsier does that in his fight with the against the Inquisitor, where he ends up pushing and pulling on different parts of the coins to kind of spin them.
Bars.
Bars.
Yeah, it was metal bars from a cage.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So either way, we see that happen. So we do know that characters can push and pull on different parts of the same metal structure.
But Kelsier's is special. Just because
Well,
one character could does not mean a different character knows that yet. I do agree there is potential for it, but we do not know if Wax has that mindset / capability. I'm also in the mindset that he's just pushing on the nails.
Okay, so I've been quiet for a long time, but this was kind of something I brought up, right? First of all, let's take away the railroad aspect of it, and let's just say it's a long strip of metal. How would it react? Because that's what we're really trying to get at, right?
right, yes.
I'm thinking about it, and I'm trying to decide, and I think like because you have all this space, like, and pushing seems to be like something you turn off or on instead of like something you have a lot of control over. I'm trying to imagine that it would be like you'd have like gravity acting on you, and it would almost be like a magnet, right? Like if you just pushed, it would just push you away from that thing based upon
Right.
gravity.
But and it's kind of loosey goosey. Like it really is. Like if you think about it too hard, it kind of like bugs me a little. Because the times that we have POVs of characters, I have to take these off when I look at the screen. The times that we have POVs of characters actively observing their metal lines, we see them as converging, or they're described as points converging at the center of their chest, right? So that means anytime you pull on something, it's going to go towards the center of your chest.
Right.
And we see the same thing with pushing as well. Like it's coming from the center of your chest, and it's described as a line, not a cone or an arc or anything like that. So presumably, it goes to the center of whatever the thing is. And yet we see all the time where that's not necessarily how it's working. Like in the example from before, we see Kelsier pushing and pulling on different parts of things,
right,
to make them behave differently, you know.
Which
I think they're
I'm fine with that. Like if that's how it works, that's cool. Like I think that's how it should be. But I'm just like I was just curious, like you were saying, like from the center of the chest, how would it react and how would it show up?
Right.
I think it also might have to do with how big the object is, and if its center point is like a few miles down the way, your allomantic line is not going to reach that far. So it could just be the center point of where you are.
Right. And so it comes down to that question of identity again, because is it a single contiguous piece? No, it was built in, I don't know, 10-foot sections or whatever. So are you seeing lines for each 10-foot section? In which case, how do you have any time to actually exert any force on those things if you're moving at 106 miles an hour that away?
Well,
mean-
you're not exerting force on every single one.
Right, but for every one you skip, that's even less time that you can, like, because of the way the angles are changing as you're pushing on these things, if you're maintaining a consistent altitude, you are, like, the vector by which you are accelerating is changing very rapidly. So you're not going to go straight. You're going to go, you're going to go bouncing around. It's just, it's very strange. It's you just can't let yourself think about it as much as I'm trying to think about it, and it hurts.
It's like when you think
Because
about
it's fun while you're reading it, but if you like really break it down and like really think about it, it can't work quite as technically as it's described. And I think that's okay, really. Like, it is. You just I'm gonna shut up now because it's frustrating.
I'm checking the annotations to see if there's anything, but does not seem to be. He talks about the top of the train fight, the fact that it's cinematic, but it will most likely never be in the movie, and then he talks about the title of the book.
I think Kay's right, and you can just push on different parts of the same object. Like, if you think about, hey, I want to push off of this part of it, that's where you'll see the line, because it's, perception,
Yeah.
identity, like all of that.
And I
Otherwise,
think
it just
that's
wouldn't work.
easier to. I would say I think it's easier to do for bigger objects versus smaller objects.
Right.
Yeah. Apparently, Wayne had a different name in his original story. So the person who became Wayne was riding into town on a Condra with a horse's body. That Condra was female, and the personality eventually became Ranette. Okay. Chapter 13. You definitely have a lot of tension in Wax and Marasi in that part. But even Brandon says, like, where was it? The hero, she doesn't know him. She could fall for the real him, and she's in the process of doing that. But from his perspective, there's still something wrong with this relationship, and she's mostly just hero worshipping. John will hopefully be back soon. Chapter 14. We meet Ranette. She's hilarious. Love her.
Oh, Wax makes a comment about how when like Wayne like likes her, but like he's pretty sure that Brunette doesn't like any guys that way. Which like
Yup.
later on in the series she has a girlfriend, so like
Oh, yeah,
Which-
totally.
Two things about that. One is, like, she does not have any interest at all in Marasi then. Marasi is just not her type at all then.
no. Marasi is too meek for Ranette. Marasi would get bowled over by Ranette so quickly.
And then the other thing is, this part might get cut. The irony of nobody else's guns shoot as straight as yours, Ranette, is just a little bit funny to me.
No.
Boom-psh. I want to go back to that, like, who's the ornament comment again, because I was kind of thinking about it more. I'm like, I wonder if it was less of like her as a person, and more of like a professional thing, like in graffiti, in the graffiti world. Like, if you're they call amateurs toys. Like, oh, that's so toy, or he's such a toy, you know. Like, I wonder if that's kind of how it was. It's like here you have like Ranette, who's clearly like this master gunsmith, and then you have these two legendary lawmen from the West, and like Marasi is just, you know, who's the toy,
Mhm.
who's the ornament, but not like a disrespect to her, but just like who's the newbie.
I think she just does not care what other people think.
I think it's just that Marasi is very clearly upper class woman, very meek, very mild mannered, and she's just like, what do you
I mean,
like? You don't do anything. Like,
it's like Vin with Alrian, like, who's the pink puffball?
Oh yeah, true.
yeah, yeah, similar vibe.
Let me have a guess.
Cat,
This is
kitty.
Sanford.
What's his name?
Sanford.
Hey, Shanford.
He's my boy. He's got a nubby tail.
Invariance.
Sorry.
There was a comment that the gun is made out of invariant steel. We have nothing on invariants.
But that it is very
And
light.
Just fancy
Apparently.
sounding fantasy steel.
Yep.
apparently, yeah. Spook, of course, being Lord Mistborn, his language that apparently he forced on everybody is High Imperial.
Honestly, I think that Spook just like was tired of just decided that because he was emperor, he could do what he because he was the Lord Mistborn.
Well,
He could do what he wanted. He's not an emperor, I don't think.
that's actually
Was he?
something that kind of bugged me.
But
Is
that's besides the point. Is that he's the one in charge. He could do what he wants and made it so that all of the like I think honestly that all of the stuff was written in his language, and honestly, it might have just stemmed from he's more comfortable with that language, so he wrote all of his notes in that language, and he was writing things like in that language, and everyone else was like, "Oh, wait, what?" And they needed to learn it.
two things. One is the fact that it's called Imperial kind of bugs me because there's like no Empire aspect to this at all. But secondly, we do see that Spook's journal is written in normal ska,
Maybe he
but
just
also,
decided to mess with people.
but I think it's more so what's her name who he ended up. I can't remember her name for the life of me now.
Bryce,
She has that really nice scene. Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
Bryceus or something.
Beldra?
Is that what your name was?
Beldra. It started with
Yes.
a B.
Yeah, Beldra has that really nice scene when they're in the catacomb / safe. Why is all words blanking on me? Right now?
Cash.
Where all the water is.
The cash.
Yes, the cache. Yes.
Oh no! John's
To
back.
her, and so I
Reader
imagine she
froze.
went around and started learning it. I froze.
You did for
Yeah.
me, sorry.
I imagine like Beldra went around and sort of tried learning it, said, hey, he speaks this, he prefers it, and maybe she kind of led that.
See, I was thinking here you have Spook in this position of power, right? He's Lord Mistborn. He doesn't know exactly who he can trust, and but he does have, you know, he's been grown up in the underworld, and he has this secret language that only him and his buddies know how to speak. So if he drafts all of his contracts in this secret language, you know, it's a way of kind of like validating it, and it's also really cool symbolically of just like, Yeah, we're gonna overthrow the government and we're gonna make street slang high Imperial.
Or he just did it so Breeze
He
would have
might
to
have
write all of his
done it.
speeches.
He might have done it just to bother Breeze.
Yeah. John, do you have anything for chapter 14?
Uh
Ranette's chapter.
oh. Not that comes immediately to mind.
I mean, do we want to talk about how Hazekiller bullets could work on every single different type of Allomancer?
I think
Not
that
especially.
not right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
because,
think
you
we
know,
should
those
keep
rioters,
going.
man, they need a special kind of bullet.
Honestly, they did it for the ones who have physical allomantic abilities, which
Yeah.
makes sense. So
Yep. Okay. Would an aluminum bullet be able to pierce or... Yeah, we already know anything that pierces a bubble causes it to pop. Never mind.
I just think
Chapter 15.
I just think like it's actually going to be cool though, right? Like you have Era 1 where the allomancy powers are like such a leg up in combat that their whole society is based around this. Like they have special people called Hazekillers whose whole job it is just to train to fight people with allomancy because they weren't born with it. And now you have Era 2, right? Where pretty much anyone with a gun is is a threat in a similar way, and
Mhm.
that's kind of where we're at. Like, but with Era 3 coming out and beyond, we're gonna start to see like the magic systems coming together, and what happens when you have a dude in shard plate who you can't just shoot, you know, and all of a sudden those powers and all this stuff starts to come back into play.
It's like, I just love the term Hazekiller. I love that term so much.
It would be another cool band name, along with Meat Sheath.
See, when you say that, all that does is remind me of Sora Online Abridged with Meat Toboggan. Some guy gets turned into a meat toboggan, or threatened to be turned into one. Okay. It's a really funny clip, I'll share it. Chapter 15. So I kind of love how Miles is really that petty that he does not want to look that bad in front of Mr. Sue. Like, yeah, we stood on the train face to face. We said 3, 2, 1, draw. It was completely honorable. I definitely had my mask down the entire time. I think it adds a great little layer to Miles.
I didn't even notice that, to be honest. That is really cool. It's, well, I don't know if cool is the word, but like it's funny, right? It's almost cute.
It's
Mhm.
like people in Lord of the Rings when what's his name? Gimli, the dwarf, tries to bust the One Ring with his axe. And people are like, oh, it's because he does not want to look inferior in front of all those elves.
You think it's like partly to do with his view of like wealthy people and like him being in the roughs and like wanting to show that he's competent and not wanting to give an inch to this guy?
Yeah, I think it's, you're one of the people I despise, and I'm going to take every victory I can with you. I'm not going to let you hold anything over me. There's a really interesting, like, dang you straight to Ironeyes' tomb.
You think they know where that is?
Well, he does not have a tomb.
Because he's not dead.
I mean, right, but
I just went to,
Do you
where
think
does he
they have,
live?
like...
Cave. That's
Yeah,
a good
right?
question. Where the fudge is March spending all of his time?
Oh, here and there. Although, if you have Marsh, what do you need Wax for?
Well,
Mark?
March can be affected by other shards potentially, because of how
Yeah.
open his spirit web is.
Yeah.
Hmm. Valid.
Also, Marsh is running out of atium and is kind of getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah, but well, I guess at this point they don't know there's a solution for that.
I don't know.
Charmy
That's
as
just, that's not the kind of like godly influence that the shards have these days. Like, you know, you gotta you gotta make little nudges. You can't just have literal Grim Reaper come out and fucking do
Well, why
whatever.
not? I vote in favor of horrifying Grim Reaper.
Well,
I'm not saying it
considering-
wouldn't be effective.
Well, considering Era 3 is going to be called Ghost Bloods, and supposedly Kelsier is going to be a main character, I wonder if there's going to be any point he says, hey, let me call Death my brother.
But no, I think it has to do with like, I don't know if this is right, but when you get the power at first, you have like, I don't know, like a ton of influence. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff, but then it kind of dies off, and you can only like make little changes, right?
You're
that's when
constricted
you-
by your intent.
Yeah.
And considering like autonomies is like, I'm trying to take over this planet, I'm pretty sure autonomy could worm her way into utilizing that if they wanted to.
So they could still
Providence,
be
no.
controlled.
Yes.
Which will be interesting when, Moash shows up and tries to mess with everybody.
Hey,
I bet you've
Spiky.
never seen somebody like me before. Oh, you're just like Death.
It'll be interesting to see if Moash with the glass spikes can be affected in the same way by
I don't think you.
shard.
I think he potentially could, but it's like Wax and Wayne at the end of it. They only have like one spike. I don't think that's. And even Suit says in 3, like if you have too many spikes, then you can be open to shardic interference.
I
but
think
if you
it's
keep the number low.
I think it's 3 spikes. If you have 3 spikes, you're open to shardic influence. It's 3 or 4. It's 3 or
He
4.
said a specific number, but there's
He
some
does say a
number.
specific number. It's not a lot.
Well, check. I call.
You
I don't
can
know why I'm
check.
putting myself. I don't have Bands of Mourning. I've got Shadows of Self, and then that's it.
You
for my
have the
liquid.
copper mind.
Yeah, but I highly doubt it's gonna have the specific line.
It,
We'll check the copper mine. There's also a line about the words of founding in planes.
What was that?
that they're in the words of found. There's a talk about the words of founding and how there are flying machines mentioned in the words of founding that says left.
Yeah.
Right
To the
on.
skies or
Hmm.
something. Sazed's doing his best, but can't. And there's like a direct line that Miles put a shotgun into his mouth and blew his head off.
'Cause he's crazy.
That sounds like the mark of someone who's perfectly stable and healthy.
Yup.
Yeah.
I'd do it again.
Totally.
Yep.
Miles has like toxic ex-boyfriend energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that's in the copper mind is that suit is a leecher and a coin shot.
Did you check the hemalurgy section?
There's no hemalurgy. All I've got is suit is also a leecher and a coin shot. I will
No, I meant
really
the
quickly
general.
check.
Okay, I'll go look it
I
up.
will check the specific page. No, all he's got is relationships, quotes, and trivia.
No, the specific page for hemalurgy.
Oh.
Hemalurgic control. The level of control ranges from whispers to control. So the more spikes a creature has, the easier to take control. At least 4 spikes are needed before Harmony can take control of humans. But there are ways around this. Khandra needs 2 spikes to be controlled.
Harmony can theoretically influence off-planet hemalurgists, but shards on those planets and other forms of interference can muddy this.
So it was in the Lost Metal was when they talked about it. The number of spikes.
Oh my goodness.
Control of hemalurgic creatures can be stolen by others, particularly if they're stronger.
That's gonna play a role somehow, isn't it? Harmony's gonna
Pro.
influence Vire.
I kind of want a scene where Harmony's like, it is time for me to step in, and waves his hand, and yet nothing happens. And he's like, why can I not control these hemalurgic creatures? And then Odium is just like, I did things.
Oh no.
Wait a second, that means that those
The weird, grotesque creatures that were created. So those are a hemalurgic construct. They're the chimeras, and they are created using a single trillium spike. And because it's made of trillium, it makes them invulnerable to Harmony's control. It's because it's a single spike. They would need 2
I'm just
for
surprised that
Harmony to get control.
I'm just surprised that a drastic physical change cannot be done by just one spike.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But back to chapter 15. At one point, Wax says the police, and that threw me for a second.
Okay.
Well,
Just because they've been saying
constables
constables all the time?
Yeah, and at one point, he's like, the police. I was like, wait a second.
Brandon, did you forget this isn't actually Batman?
And the only other thing I had for this, besides like Marasi's, there's another thing I'm thinking about. Is I want to read the psychology thing, because he's like, oh, anybody who Wax sees wearing a bunch of red, he thinks is a chronic gambler. And then I would look down, seeing like my red shirt, red hoodie, red jacket, red coat, red vest, to being like, I would do so horribly.
I think that is funny that a psychologist essentially like went undercover to go talk to Wax in order to write up a full psychological report on him.
And the fact that Wax didn't know.
Yeah, no idea.
That is crazy.
that is all I've got for this chapter set.
I think that covers it.
Anybody else?
Uh-huh.
Okie dokie. Well, that's going to just about cover it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us in our ramblings and predictions. This has been Cosmere Connections, and we hope you'll tune in next time.
Good
Bye.
job.
Adios, amigos.
Well done, Speedy Gonzalez.
Hey, I'm weird.